Hey everyone, this is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is
Season 7 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
Of what we were singing?
Yeah.
If I could reach higher for just one moment, touch the sky. From that one moment in my life, I'm gonna be strong. We're not gonna hit the high note that she hits.
We couldn't even hit it when we were going through puberty, much less now.
Well, on that note, everybody, welcome to episode 308 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
You're still getting them.
I'm gonna get them for a bit. I told you I'm gonna start messing up in the 320s.
I know. I was actually talking to Tristan about that earlier because we were saying he was saying, yeah, my dad's probably gonna say it's like episode 195 or something, and I'm like, no, because we're still close enough to the 300 that's fresh in your mind.
Yeah.
So once we get to like 370, that's when you'll have no idea. Yeah.
I'm thinking in French.
You are. Is it because opening ceremonies of les Olympiques? I don't know how to say Olympics in French.
Les Jeux Olympiques.
Dans Paris.
Well, before we get into the Olympic talk, and there is going to be a lot of Olympic talk.
Oh, you're going to have so much to learn today.
Yes, listeners, buckle up. Buckle up.
There's 5 rings, baby, and you're going to learn about all of them.
Listen. Do you know what the 5 rings mean?
I do, but I don't. Like, I know that they mean like happiness, hope, or some
Actually, that's
bullshit or something.
At all.
I don't know. No, wait, I'm thinking of the colors of the pride flag.
Yes, you can.
Never mind.
The 5 rings of the Olympics mean the 5 participating continents.
Oh, really?
Where there's no Antarctica.
Yet again, penguin discrimination.
Yeah. But North, South America, Africa, Europe, and Asia.
Oh, I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. And we're sort of leaving out Australia.
I was going to say, I mean, they hosted the damn thing.
And they're going to host it in 2032.
Okay, you know what? We need 6 rings.
Yeah. But I think they sort of snuck Australia and Asia there.
Like Austrasia?
Yeah.
Okay. Kylie Minogue, get on that.
Yeah.
Right now, Kylie's at the peak of her powers again.
Listen, if anybody can make Australia,
a ring,
change the continental classification of Australia, is Kylie Minogue.
Yeah, it's not going to be.
What other good Australian do we know?
Oh, there's a lot. Nicole Kidman.
I know Nicole Kidman is Australian, but
she is, but she isn't because she's technically American. She was born in Hawaii.
She was born in Hawaii.
Yeah,
I know she was raised in Australia, but then she lives in LA. I mean, I don't want to be that person that doesn't consider her Australian,
right. But she grew up in Australia,
right?
With her BFF Naomi Watts.
She is Australian.
There's Natalie Imbruglia.
We discovered that Torn. Okay, people,
it's a cover of a cover.
Listen. I want to tell our Pero Primos something. So, the song from Natalie Imbruglia from the late 80s, or late 90s, they go, nothing's right, I'm torn, I'm all out of faith, this is how I feel. We all know that song. We love that song.
We do.
Some people hate it, but I like that song. I was so many days old when I found out that song is a cover. And I showed you.
And it's a cover of a cover.
Exactly. Because then what I thought was the cover
was the original.
What I thought was the original was actually a cover as well.
From like an indie
band. So it's like there's 3 main versions of that song.
Yeah.
And what was interesting was that they all came out, I think the original is from 95. The first cover is from 1996, and the Natalie Imbruglia is from
97.
97, 98.
Yeah. They're not that far apart.
Right? Yeah. So, I mean, people, did you know that? I didn't know that.
I don't think anybody knew that. I don't know when was the last time any of our Pero Primos thought about Torn to that extent.
Well, I mean, listen, when that song was really popular, because, sometimes songs are really popular and they're a cover, right?
Right. But I'm saying, I don't think anybody's thought about Torn to this degree in quite a few years.
I mean,
to the point of, let's dig into it like you and I did that day.
I actually found out about it on Instagram. So anyway, how is everybody? How's everybody enjoying their summer?
See, sometimes social media does provide something
positive. How's everybody enjoying their summer? Están para la playa, hay tremendo calor.
We're almost, lo que falta de verano.
I told you. It's St. Patrick's Day already.
First, it's my birthday, then it's St. Patrick's Day.
No, we're bypassing your birthday.
We will never bypass my birthday. I love my birthday. We've had this conversation every year.
Ahorita, like, I mean, I know that in August, there's already people that are going to be putting up their Halloween stuff.
Yeah. I've decided that I'm going to put it like mid-September.
Why?
Because, okay, so I started thinking about this. I'm like, here's a problem with like the tail end of decorations, right? Halloween, if you only put it up like October 1st to 31st, okay, it's a month. That's cool. But then the problem with that is that then you get Thanksgiving kind of gets like weirded out there because Thanksgiving, I also use some of my Thanksgiving like more autumnal things as part of the Halloween. So then I feel like if I start a little earlier, then autumn's a little later. And then sometimes Christmas starts like, almost mid-November versus, just December. And it's just a thing. You know what? I want everybody to have shelf space in my house.
That's your logic.
Yeah. Lester doesn't like a little spooky ooky fun.
You know how I feel about Halloween. I don't.
You like Halloween. No. You like Halloween because you are Mr. Every year. It's like, don't we know anybody who's having a Halloween party so we can go to a Halloween party?
I know, but
so you like Halloween.
But you know what? We don't go to Halloween parties. I don't get to be the weekend, and nobody has fun.
Nobody is too many people. I have fun every year on Halloween.
I'm like, all I want to do is go to a really good Halloween party so I could be. No, I already told you. We have to go to 2 Halloween parties. Remember?
That's
we
right.
We need 2 Halloween parties because I want to go dressed up as the Weeknd as he was in his concert tour. But I want to go to one party wearing his concert, like his costume
North American
from the American tour, and then the other party wear his costume from the European tour.
Right. And that's going to be 2 parties that you're going to be upset because inevitably nobody's going to know what you're dressed as and they're going to say something else that you're going to be upset about.
I know it's going to be the Weeknd.
Right. But they're going to say something else. Like somebody will say
For the love of God, my earphones are killing me.
Tú tienes un trabajo with the earphones today.
Sorry.
All I've seen, listeners, it's quita y pon. It's like, I think it's time for new headphones. I hope I get you in Secret Santa. I'm going to get you new earphones.
If this was back in the day, you would have, because you would have gotten. Sorry, pero primos. I hope I didn't scream too loud in the microphone. Yo tengo un arroz con mango fumado aquí with my earphones. They just don't fit. They're sort of broken.
Together, yeah. They're hanging on by a thread.
I need to put some Scotch tape. Actually, se volvió a caer. Espérate.
You know what? I don't think you're using earphones today.
Cógele con tape. No, I have to use earphones today. If I don't use earphones, it's not my shtick.
Would it be Scotch tape, or do you think duct tape would work better?
No, chico, conté. Mira, ya conté.
Where is it?
It's right there.
All right, let's see here. He's actually.
So people call it a conté. Like,
actually, I don't know what they call. I've never heard them. A masking tape. I've heard masking tape.
I always thought. Okay, so growing up, I thought it was ecote, like ES.
Okay, the way like La Casina is lacquer thinner.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, La Casina's lacquer thinner?
Well, Aunque Pase USA.
No, because I know the word La Casina. My uncle was
or chirro.
No, chirro, I know. Well, hello.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is chirro is sheet rock, right? So
yes.
like cote. Ecote.
Right, I thought it cote. Right. I thought it was a cote.
Right.
But then, when I was older, I'm like, oh, it's Scotch tape.
Yes.
Okay, let's put some ecote on my...
Let's see if this gets us through the episode.
I think the ecote is going to work. Anyway, well, back to our regular programming. People, like, I just... My headsets were falling apart, and these are Beats. These are good headsets.
You've had these for a while.
I have, and they're good, but anyway.
The wear and tear.
The wear
and the tear.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of wear and tear, before we get into our topics.
What is that? Is there like an Air Force, like a jet?
Did you hear that?
A ver, ¿qué más?
Did like the stealth bomber just passed over our house? The spruce goose?
That thing never flew, so if that's what went over your house, I'd be so happy.
I don't know if you guys heard that, but anyway, I looked at you like, do you know what it is?
Yes, that's a F-2 bomber. I don't know.
Anyway, where were we?
I don't even know anymore. The Halloween that you like Halloween, but you pretend you don't.
No, because if I dress up, I want to dress up as something epic.
Right. So just do it.
Right, but I'm not going to dress up as something epic for like a stupid party with like 3 people.
It's,
You know the parties we used to go to when we were in our 20s that our friend used to have like major Halloween parties?
yeah.
I need something like that again.
okay, well, I'm sure I'm sure we know somebody who throws those parties.
Do we?
I'm sure.
I mean, I think we should start now.
Okay, so Pero Primos, we're putting out the call now. You have 2 months to put together an outfit. You know what? We should go to something like maybe there's like some type of like charity Halloween party, because that will have a lot of people, and those costumes will be out of hand.
Where I could go dressed up as a weekend?
Right.
Okay.
That way you can do it up.
Well, he's coming out with a new album in a couple of months, so I mean that may change my whole costume.
You know what? Just do Zangief already.
But he's going to be a baby.
He's gonna be a baby.
Yeah. You don't know about the Weeknd's trilogy?
What?
Okay, so the Weeknd's okay, so he has a new album coming out this year.
Okay.
Okay, and that is going to be the final installment in a trilogy.
Okay.
So the first part of the trilogy was After Hours. That's the cover where his face is all bloody.
Yes.
And when he was wearing the
That was
red jacket.
the Vegas theme.
Right. And then Dawn FM was the second installment of the
With Jim
trilogy,
Carrey.
which is the cover where he's an old man.
Okay.
And now in the new album, it's a baby picture of his. And so the first he started off in hell, then he was in purgatory, and now he's in heaven.
Okay. Go on, Dante.
I have to tell you, Purgatory is supposed to be bad, but I enjoyed Purgatory the best because Dawn FM is my favorite album of
I
his.
mean, also, I feel like I'd be okay in Purgatory. You know soy tan extremista.
I like that. That's the way you put it, right?
Yeah,
So, we're very excited.
Okay, well, maybe it'll be an easy costume. You'll just have to wear a diaper.
Then I'll be like every person who used to dress up as a baby. And
Right.
That was such a late 80s, early 90s costume.
It really was. And for some reason, it was couples costume.
Yeah, they would dress up as babies. I'm like, what's up with that? This was like years before Baby Spice came around.
Yeah,
Like,
no. Yeah,
because I could understand once Baby Spice of the Spice Girls came around.
But Baby Spice was Baby Spice, not Baby Girl.
That's true.
Two very different things.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So you just do Zangief already.
no, I'm not in the shape to do Zangief. But one day I am going to be in the shape again.
You keep saying that.
One day I am going to be in the shape to do Zangief, and I am going to make you proud.
You know what? I'm saying this right now. If you don't do Zangief within the next 15 years, let's say.
Okay, well,
Well,
after that, I'm not going to be geriatric Zangief.
Well, I'm just giving you enough. Listen, 15 years is only 55. That's not,
Okay.
that's not old anymore. Hugh Jackman is 55.
Jennifer
okay?
Lopez is 55.
Right. So it's okay. If not, I will bury you in a Zangief costume.
For those listeners, Zangief is from Street Fighter, which is a game that a lot of people love. I love, and he's a Russian wrestler. But the thing is that he wears only a speedo
And a cape.
and
For
red
modesty.
boots. And I'm a little bit demure. So I've always wanted to dress up at him in Zangief cosplay, but at the same time, I would probably just wear a turtleneck over the Zangief costume.
I've told you.
I'd be like, I'm Zangief under here.
The beauty of your Zangief costume is because, Zangief, like you said, it's a red speedo with red boots and a cape. I could see you somehow figuring how to turn the cape into something that has a zipper and armholes, just so you could be like, I'm Zangief, but under here,
under
here,
the cape,
I'm
I'm
under the
Zangief.
cape. I'm totally Zangief.
I just want to wear the cape so I could put in the back from Russia with love, and then tie in two things that I love.
But is that what he has on his cape?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I don't
But
remember.
I wanted to make it my own.
Oh, well,
So,
there you go.
okay, anyway, let's move right along.
So
let's move right along.
Darien.
That could be a thing.
Okay, it is a thing. Change approved.
Yeah. And I'm Cuban, and he's Soviet, and the Cuban-Soviet relationship.
Oh, that's true. You know what? No, you can't do Zangief.
Why?
I know, because you're a Democrat and they already accuse you of being a communist.
Oh, I know.
You know
It's
what?
not gonna work in my
Not
favor.
gonna work.
I could just imagine somebody
No.
taking a candid of me. Mira, medio
No.
en cuero y comunista. And somehow my father is gonna find out about it. And be like, esto es lo último que faltaba, que tú, que eres un abogado, andes por ahí medio en cuero y seas comunista. That's like in that episode of Que Pasa USA.
Rojo y rumbero.
Yeah. Which I didn't know what was a big deal about that.
I don't either, at the end of the day.
Anyway.
Well, it's Luis Santero.
So, So let's talk about the elephant in the room again, which is the now everything that happened with the
Democratic
President Biden. And again, we said that we're not going to talk about politics this
is not politics.
This season, or in a while we haven't. But I'm not taking this from a partisan.
This is just news.
But actually, a lot of people have contacted me in the last week asking me how this happens and what does this mean and all that. Mm-hmm. So unless you were living under a rock,
welcome.
This past week, President Biden announced that he was not, in fact, going to seek re-election. Mm-hmm. And as such, the presumptive or heir apparent nominee for president for the Democrats is going to be the current vice president, Kamala Harris. And obviously that made a lot of people very happy. It made other people very upset. And then there's obviously the people who just don't care. But a lot of people had contacted me as to the legalities of it, if there wasn't a Democratic primary, how could this happen?
And that is a question that I actually had, because again, this is the first time, at least in our lifetime, that I think this has happened.
Yes. So basically, this is a very sort of complicated and multifaceted answer, but I'm going to make it very simple.
You're very good at that.
The way that happens is called through an open convention. So basically, how primaries work in comparison to a convention is sort of similar to how the general election happens. You vote, and then the electoral college votes depending on the popular vote of the state. So whatever the popular vote of the state turns out to be, the electoral college then turns in their votes towards president. It's sort of
to nominee.
Right. This is sort of similar. So basically what happens is, as primaries happen, especially when it's primaries that there is more than one contender, more than one candidate for the ticket of a certain party, as candidates, primaries happen, as each state gets its numbers and each state see who won of, let's say, the Republicans, then the delegates of that state, they say, okay, we are going to vote for this candidate. Okay.
So they cast their vote in accordance to the primary.
They pledge their delegate vote to the candidate that won that primary.
In that state.
Okay. And they do that for every state. And then the day of the convention, that's why something a lot of people don't watch when the party conventions happen, I actually love to watch, is when they do the roll call of each state. So they'll go state of Florida, and then the state of Florida will come out. So us from the beautiful state of Florida with so-and-so delegates. I forget how many delegates Florida has for primaries or for the convention. We pledge our number, electors to so-and-so, who's going to be the next president of the United States.
Okay.
Right? In this particular case, because there weren't primaries for the Democratic ticket per se,
right?
It's called an open convention, or a broker convention. That's the actual name of it. That what will happen is that the delegates can vote for whoever they want. So the delegates of each state can then vote for whoever is a candidate, or whoever they think can, be president. So it actually has happened before. And before 1968, there were several rules in both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, which changed a lot of the rules of how conventions are run. But prior to 1968, open conventions were actually very, very common. And if I believe, I may be mistaken, that one of the more recent ones, when I mean recent, I mean 1968, was for the Republicans, was with Richard Nixon, I believe, and Ronald Reagan. For the Democratic ticket, I believe
Republican ticket.
Yeah, the Republican ticket. Excuse me. I believe there was something in 1968 with them, because obviously Ronald Reagan was giving it a go before he eventually tried in 1980. So open conventions are nothing new. They just haven't happened in a very long time. There are actually very common before 1968. So what's going to happen now is when the Democratic convention happens, which is at the end of August, when they do the roll calls for each state, the delegates and super delegates of each state are going to nominate or pledge their votes as delegates to someone. And the heir apparent happens to be Kamala Harris. And there isn't anybody who has said that they want to run against her for the top of the Democratic ticket. So it appears that she's the presumptive, if you will, nominee for the ticket. But for all the people saying that this is illegal, that this is not, it's not. This has actually happened many times before. There's a lot of rules in place and a lot of procedures in place that protect the legality of this and spell out the legality of this. So we've been here before. We just haven't been here in a while.
Right.
So that's probably what will happen in the Democratic convention in late August. But currently, although everybody thinks she is the nominee, currently technically she is not the nominee.
There is no nominee right now.
There's no nominee right now for the Democrats. Again, until the convention. There was
technically there wasn't a nominee for the Republicans either until the convention confirms it. I mean, really until the convention. Right.
There are ways around it because the delegates sort of pledge votes to you prior to the convention, so you already know you have enough delegates to win.
Anyway.
But it's not official until the convention. A lot of people were very concerned, the people who didn't want Joe Biden to continue running, that he wasn't going to pull out before the convention, because if he didn't pull out before the convention and he was officially the nominee post-convention, the only way he could get out of that is if he dies or he's severely incapacitated.
Oh, he cannot.
Nope.
He can't
Once
resign.
you are the nominee, you are the nominee.
Really?
Mm-hmm. You can't then say, "Oh, well, I don't want to do it anymore." I mean, I'm sure if somebody said I didn't want to do it anymore, there'll probably be some type of constitutional crisis or some type of convention crisis.
What's one more unprecedented event in our time?
One unprecedented event? But yeah, that's what will happen. In the Democratic convention, the delegates will pledge their votes for what it looks like going to be Vice President Kamala Harris to be at the top of the Democratic ticket for president.
I do have a question, and this is something that kind of irks me a little bit, because look, at the end of the day, I mean, even we know with the Electoral College and everything, right? Ultimately, you're banking on this person or these people showing up and pledging based on the votes, right? Yes. And ultimately, there's a certain degree of honor system, right? That the people that you're voting for, that they're pledging for whomever is based on the votes and all that. Okay, great. I do have a bit of an issue with that not being the case based on what you're telling me here for the Democratic ticket, because ultimately what it seems to me is because these delegates are not going back to their states necessarily. I mean, there's no primary, so there's no. And I don't want to use this because it sounds like I'm trying to be some type of constitutional scholar that I'm not, but there's no quote unquote will of the people behind their vote or their pledge that's being cast, right? It just seems to me as if though now these are people who can kind of just go up there and be like, yep.
Well, but there's nobody running against her.
Okay, but what I'm saying is so I guess my question is, let's say tomorrow, I'm making shit up. Tomorrow, Gavin Newsom wakes up and he's like, you know what? I'm throwing my hat in the ring.
Then there'll be an issue.
Do they have to do a primary at that point?
No, they wouldn't do a primary at that point, but they will definitely consider him as a nominee. So they could nominate him, or they could pledge their delegate votes towards him. Okay. But the problem, I mean, there's not going to be.
Right. But I'm speaking a lot of hypotheticals here because it's never happened before in my lifetime.
But yeah. They if whoever throws their hat in the ring, then they could at the convention vote or pledge their delegate votes to that person.
Okay. I mean, again, I'm not trying to be a conspiracy guy. That's not who I am.
No. But
I understand how some people would view this as would view what is happening as a. God, I'm going to sound like such a conspiracy nut. As a, let's wait till the last possible minute. Let's then do the switcheroo. And now there's no opportunity for other people really to come into the fray. Right. And so what we quote unquote wanted to happen, i.e. position candidate X, whomever that is, is now happening, and there's no. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
No, I understand what you're trying to say, but no, that's not the case. That's not the case because
I can see how people could interpret that.
No, that's not the case because there's protocols for this and laws for this. This is not illegal.
I didn't say it was illegal.
They're right, but they're not going into uncharted territory, right? A lot of people think that because they don't remember something or it didn't happen in their lifetime, it doesn't exist, and that does exist, and that was very common at one point in the United States. So just because it hasn't happened in the last 50 years doesn't mean it can't happen or it doesn't happen or it didn't happen. And as far as politics go, yes, could there be some grand conspiracy? But
I mean,
the problem is with all these conspiracy theories. That's why I don't believe a single conspiracy theory, because a lot of times when you make conspiracy theories, it's not one person. It's not Pinky in the Brain. Where it's like, what are we gonna do today? That's what you say, right? Yeah. Right. It's not Pinky in the Brain. A lot of times when people talk about these huge conspiracy
the degree
theories,
of people that requires,
9/11 was an inside job, right? Or all this, with the election. I'm like, do you know how many thousands of people it would take to pull that off?
Right.
Like how many thousands of people? And you think that in this day and age where people sell their soul for like, a minute online,
right,
that nobody has said anything?
Yeah. There's the theme song from Pretty Little Liars said it best, two can keep a secret if one of them is dead.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
When people start talking to me, about like the, 2020 election, like, election fraud, and there's so much fraud. I'm like, the conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, aside from the fact that there's not a single shred of demonstrable evidence, right, okay, let's pretend for a minute that there was. Right. Do you know how many thousands of people would have to be involved to overturn or throw out results, right, of an election? Like how many people, like how many things have to be the coordination. I mean, the federal government can coordinate of anybody's basic things. You think they're going to do that? Like state and federal government.
As somebody who's trying to get a hold of anybody at unemployment,
right?
Good luck.
Good luck calling Medicare and Medicaid.
Right.
I mean, come on. Yeah. That's why I don't believe. I mean, when people come with these conspiracy theories, I've told you my theory on people with conspiracy theories, right? I think that people that have, and I'm sorry if this offends anybody out there. I'm not meaning it. I'm not saying it to offend you. I think that people that believe conspiracy theories believe it in an air of intellectual exceptionalism. Like they believe that they know something that you don't know and they're smarter.
And they're watch Lost.
They're not blinded by what they call now is red pills. Like
the red pill, blue pill, like
the red, yes. Like they're going deep down that red pill. It's like, oh my god, like really, like
yeah. Unfortunately, I have to agree with you. A lot of times, the people who buy into the hardcore conspiracy theories, it's people who maybe have some degree of insecurity and now, because this allows them, to your point, to feel like they're smarter. I know something you don't. It's easier to buy into that than to buy into the fact that maybe we just don't know everything.
I remember one time there's a few things that I just will not engage in, and one of the things I've always said straight out that I will not engage in, I just won't, is that 9/11 is an inside job. I read the 9/11 Commission report. It's in my library downstairs, and we experienced it. We remember it. Right. We were alive, and when that happened. And I remember one time this is the closest to engaging with somebody that about this not too long ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Somebody was saying like, yeah, it was an inside job, because again, a lot of people that believe that 9/11 was an inside job was because of the implosion of World Trade Center 7, which was a building that was part of the World Trade Center complex, about 50 stories tall, that much later in that day on September 11th, like in the early evening, I believe, it collapsed. It imploded. And obviously by that time, since the Twin Towers had already fallen, there was a lot of footage of that area. So there's footage from all angles of that building falling. And that's what a lot of people that are conspiracy theorists about 9/11 use as sort of like the gateway to it being an inside job. And I remember I was talking to somebody about it, the closest I've ever gotten to engaging about it. He's like, yeah, because they had dynamite, and they had, how the way that you implode a building. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, that's what they did. And they imploded the building, and it had dynamite, just like they do in a controlled demolition. I'm like, really? And I'm like, well, something that I do on YouTube is I like to watch controlled demolitions, especially about Vegas hotels. Old Vegas hotels. And one of the biggest things about in a controlled demolition is that it goes boom. It goes boom, 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 boom. Right?
That was missing.
Right. There wasn't none of that.
No
and
boom.
you don't see any explosions going on in the building. So, how do you explain that? Well, no, because they used a specific type of dynamite.
But that's why you can't engage. That's why you can't engage,
right.
because no matter what you come up with, they have no. But you don't understand.
Right.
No, but okay, you don't know. Yeah. No, but the thing is,
and look,
so
that's not to say there's not a ton of shit that the general public doesn't know about a lot of things.
Yeah, listen, they do shit all the time.
Right. Again, there's
we're not rose color blind.
There's skeletons in those closets.
Yes.
That's not to say, but again, this like everything is a conspiracy theory. Like I remember now, like last month or something. Remember here in Miami, the apartment building that caught on fire.
Oh yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah,
yes,
the apartment building. So here in Miami, there was an apartment building that
it was a senior citizen,
a senior citizen apartment building in downtown. The building was like from the 1920s, and there were two people who had an altercation. One person shot the other one. He set the building on fire, and that thing caught on fire immediately. And thankfully, nobody died. But the building,
other than the guy who got shot.
No, he didn't die.
Oh, he didn't die.
No, he didn't die. But the whole building, like especially the top floors, all caught fire. And then because the building was unstable, they didn't allow people to go get their belongings, which is terrible. It sucks. And then because the building was unstable, like 2 weeks later, they were going to demolish the building, or shortly after that happened. Yeah, people in Only and Dade, the comment section, of course. Oh, that's because, that's controlled. Oh, that's because the developer wants to buy that land and blah, blah, blah. And that's all, they don't want us to know what's there. And I'm like, bro, like the building is unstable.
It caught fire. What do you want?
Like,
yeah.
Todo is a conspiracy theory.
Again, it's easier. It's easier to think. I think sometimes that quote unquote everything that which I hate this phrase. As I get older, I hate it more. Everything happens for a reason. You know what? No, sometimes things just happen.
No, sometimes they just suck.
Sometimes sucky things just happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it is what it is. But to go back to to Kamala. Is it Kamala or Kamala?
Kamala.
Okay. I will say I'm interested to see where this goes.
In terms of her...
In terms of everything. So here's the thing. Number one, in terms of the VP pick. Because right now everybody is like all a Twitter, pun intended, about, oh my God, is it going to be her and Pete and her and Pete and her and Pete? It cannot be
No, it's not going to be her and Pete. No, for sure.
Listen, kids. We cannot have woman, black, and gay all on the same
No,
ticket.
but it's not even that.
I'm gonna call it out.
But it's not even that.
It's not gonna happen.
That's part of it, but it's not even that. The thing with Pete Buttigieg, and I like him, is that he has had a lot of controversies and a lot of
scrutiny. I think
scrutiny as the director of transportation. It has not been smooth sailing for him. And although Pete Buttigieg is great going on talk shows and going on Fox News and really defending the Democrats and stuff like that. He's very good. He's a very good speaker. He hasn't been tested on a national level. And he he's not, there is some controversy about him in his home city where he was mayor. He's not, it's not him.
It's not him.
It's not him.
Yeah.
The gay thing certainly doesn't help when you're, the nominee is a woman and of color. And I mean, it is what it is. We wish that didn't matter, but
again, we're not blind to things.
The nominee is going to be a white guy from either a Midwestern state or like a Southern state, who's a moderate Democrat.
Basically, he's going to be like, the moderate version of J.D. Wentworth or whatever his name is.
It's going to be, it's either going to be Scott Shapiro from Pennsylvania, the governor of Kentucky, or Mark Kelly from New Mexico. Mark Kelly is the astronaut.
Oh.
The one that his wife was Gabby Giffords, who got shot.
Oh, Gifford. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Mark Kelly.
Oh, okay.
So
I will say I'm interested in seeing... the other thing I'm interested in with her is to see where the marketing goes. I know it's called a campaign, but...
She sort of went...
But work with me on this, guys. I have a marketing background. I want to see where that goes because...
Did you see the whole Charlie XCX?
That's exactly my thing.
That actually worked really well on her behalf. And that was totally organic.
It worked well, but that I don't think has longevity. Here's the thing. I think that the people that she needs to appeal to are not the Charlie XCX people. Because I think that the quote unquote younger generation who have been bitching and moaning about like it's always too old white men, I think that they are, I don't want to say automatically, but they're going to be more inclined to at least listen. And I think that if you try to skew too young to show how hip and modern and cool you are, you may not be able to reach the older demographic. And again, I'm thinking of this strictly from a marketing perspective.
Yeah, but the thing with your marketing perspective is that your marketing perspective doesn't always translate to politics. And I can tell you, as somebody who's worked in politics, is that it's very tricky, and you have to go along with politics. Like right now, we're in August. September is a completely different time and climate. October is completely different, and November, all hell just broke loose, right? So the way that you approach it from I don't want to say marketing, but from...
Oh, but you're marketing a product. I mean...
It's very different because you have to adapt to whatever comes at you. And in terms of the younger demographic is... You've always had a problem getting younger people to vote. That's always existed.
Yeah.
But for example, after after Biden announced that he wasn't going to run, they had I forgot what organization had 40,000 new enrollment, and they were all people under 25.
Yeah, and she's had the most small amount donations.
Right. So in a time now where elections are won or lost by not a lot of votes, it means a lot. So obviously, the challenge of anybody running for especially a general position like the presidency is that their demographic is everyone.
Right.
Their demographic is not 18 to 35 or people that make a certain amount of money. It's everyone. Right. So that in itself is a challenge. So that's why I think the traditional marketing perspective is a little bit different, because when you... that you're a marketing, professional, you have a client, you know what the client wants, you know what the client's demographic is, so you have numbers, you have demographics, data to work with. But when you are running a general election, your demographic is everybody 18 to death.
This is true.
So that makes it a little bit different. I thought that the whole thing with the Charlie XCX, Brat Summer, I thought that was genius. I was obviously an intern or something.
Oh, I was going to say clearly a college student intern.
Genius. Yeah. And that's the type of energy, especially for the younger voter that you did. And what I thought was really neat about that was that the younger demographic. So basically, what happened is that Charlie XCX, who is a very
she's having a moment now.
She's having a moment. She has a new album called Brat, and she started a couple of months ago being like, "Oh, this is a Brat summer."
Yeah, it's a Brat girl summer.
And right before, so Brat now is sort
of
the
aesthetic of Brat is the green background with the black letters.
So Brat now is sort of kind of cool and whatever. So when all this happened, she was like, "Oh, Kamala is Brat." So then that sort of went viral. Yeah. And what I think is really sort of neat about that is that it went viral enough that it caught the attention of young people, but it wasn't something also that a lot of older people are not even going to get the reference. Right. And a lot of older people are going to be like, okay, what, the green background? Like, okay. Do you know what she did record that's coming out in a couple of weeks?
XCX?
No.
Charlie?
Kamala Harris?
No, what?
Kamala Harris is going to be in an episode of Drag Race.
Well, no, actually, so I'm gonna amend what you're saying. Kamala is actually today, but on Friday, she's on the finale of Drag Race.
Right. But she shot it a couple of weeks ago.
Because All Stars filmed hace rato.
Right.
So when she did it, she was this had not happened.
Right.
None of this was even in the air. So you want to talk about fortuitous timing? I mean,
no, but that's what I'm saying. They're going to milk that cow.
Oh, absolutely. Listen,
so that was something that worked out in her favor.
Yeah. Again, it was just
because I was reading
accident.
it. Yeah. I was reading it today, and it's funny because
like us airing Ibis's interview this week after this all happened.
It's funny because if I were to be her advisor right now, I don't know if I would tell her to go out on Drag Race. I don't know if now would be the time. Like if right now if they
asked her today,
right? I don't know if I would do it. But this was already recorded. Weeks or months ago, so it was there. So she has nothing to lose at this point.
Right.
But you can assure that it airs Friday.
It's Friday. Yeah.
Okay,
it's the finale.
You can assure that Saturday,
No,
There's-
because it's on streaming. So Friday by like 9 a.m., everybody's going to be talking about it. And to the credit, on Drag Race, it actually does end every episode with having all of the drag queens hold signs that says register to vote and get out the vote and all that.
Yeah,
so they have been very political in that sense.
Yeah, so we'll see where this goes. Fasten your seatbelts, baby.
It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Yeah, I'm tired of unprecedented events.
Seriously, can we have some precedented events?
Yeah. Well, no, I would say I'm overwhelmed. I'm not whelmed.
No, we're not whelmed.
We're not whelmed.
No, I would kill for whelmed.
Yeah. It's funny because I was talking to somebody the other day. I'm like, do you realize the last sane election we had was Obama versus Romney in 2012?
God, if you had told me it was 70 years ago, I'd remember. I'd have to say yes.
I was like, that was like the last normal election we had. They argued on issues.
What a fucking concept. What the fuck is that about?
There was no insults.
An actual debate?
There was no insults. There was no nothing. They actually argued on issues.
What, they talked about policy? The fuck is that about?
Imagine that.
What a novelty.
Whether you like Romney or whether you liked Obama,
But at least they kept it civil.
Well, yeah. I mean, up
That's
to that point,
I'm saying at least they kept it civil, yeah.
Up to that point, sort of always was.
Up until then, we had precedented events.
Precedented events. Anyway, how's everybody's drive? Are you stuck in traffic?
Well, if they're in Miami, of course they are.
I know what that was a stupid rhetorical question.
That was the definition of a rhetorical question. Yeah.
Well, if you're listening today on Pero Friday, tonight
yes,
is a big night for me.
Speaking of events.
Speaking of events. So, for those of you who don't know, in 307 episodes,
I'm just going to lean back and let you go for a minute.
This guy right here, DJ, to say I'm obsessed with the Olympics is an understatement. So, let it be known that not only do I like the Olympics and I watch the Olympics, I consider myself an Olympic historian, and I am a collector of Olympics memorabilia.
An Olympophile? I don't know if that's
I guess
the
that's
word.
an Olympophile, yeah. I have a ton of books, a ton of merch.
We've talked about it before on the show.
Have we? I have books. I have some books on the Olympics that are like 90 years old. I've been to Olympia in Greece. I've been to different Olympic museums around the world. I've been to the Olympic headquarters in Lucerne, Switzerland.
Honestly, the only thing left is for you to just become part of the IOC.
No, one can dream, right?
It's like the only thing left at this point.
I mean, I think the IOC is corrupt AF, but so I'm really, really into the Olympics, and the Olympics start today in good old Paris, and I've been quite excited about these Olympic Games because, I mean, let's just be honest, they were in Tokyo in 2020, but it really was in 2021, the Tokyo Olympics.
Again, the unprecedented event.
The unprecedented of COVID, messed up those Olympics, and it just wasn't the same. I know Tokyo tried to do the best they could with what they had, but it just wasn't the same. There was no spectators in none of the sports. The opening ceremonies had no people.
It was very sad.
So it was sort of, we skipped out on those Olympics. So I'm very excited about the Olympics in Paris. The opening ceremony is going to be down the river of the Seine. It's not going to be in a stadium.
Okay.
And so everything is going to be, I guess, on barges and boats, the opening ceremony. But they expect it to be a game changer and to be like the greatest opening ceremony there is. The highlight for me of any opening ceremony is how they light the cauldron.
Mm-hmm.
I am like...
Do they say that ahead of time or no?
No. That's a huge secret always. I'm like that person that's like super critical on how they light the cauldron, because that's like the moment you wait for, right?
Right.
That's like the moment everybody's like waiting. Who's going to light the cauldron and how do they light it and where does it come from? Throughout the years, they've done different like trickery, I guess you would say, or to like different ways they've lit the cauldron. One of my favorite ways they lit the cauldron was in Barcelona in 1992 when there was somebody who was he did archery.
Oh yes.
And with a bow and arrow,
I remember that one.
The arrow was on, somebody lit the arrow and he, you don't say throw, right? He
shot the
arrow. He shot the arrow. Wow.
Yes.
He shot the arrow onto the cauldron. That was like one of the most iconic ones. I also love how they lit the cauldron in 2000, in the 2000 Sydney Olympics. Kathy Freeman, who was an Australian Olympian, she sort of stepped into a pool, and you're like, I remember watching that live and being like, okay, she's in a pool. Like,
Right, yeah.
what is she going to do now? And she sort of lit the water, and the water caught on fire, and like out of the water came out the cauldron. And it was sort of like amazing. The Athens cauldron, I loved how they lit that one. It was this huge cauldron that bowed at the person lighting the cauldron. It was just incredible. So I'm always like looking forward to that. But then there's Olympics where they just like go and light the cauldron, and I'm like, really? Like I remember watching the Olympics in Rio, right? And the guy just goes to like this little round thing and he lights it, and I'm like, really? Like I need
Give me
like
spectacle.
I need a spectacle, or like I need it to come out of something and all that. Like, yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to the opening ceremony party.
Yes, I'm having a small get together tomorrow where I'm going to make French food.
Yes.
So fun fact about the Olympics and my little opening ceremony parties. So you all know Ping Pong Pollo. You love Ping Pong Pollo, our side gig. And the reason I actually started making the Ping Pong Pollo wings was because in 2018, the Winter Olympics were in Pyeongchang, South Korea. And because they were in South Korea, I had some friends over and I made Korean style chicken wings. And that is actually where Ping Pong Pollo started from.
That is the origin story.
So we have the Olympics to thank for Ping Pong Pollo.
And that is why you should be on the IOC.
I know, right? Can you imagine in my interview? I'm like, yeah, I created a whole chicken business.
Yeah, maybe you can be like their culinary consultant. The athletes have to eat.
Culinary consultant. So a lot of people always ask me throughout the years since once I start talking about the Olympics, I just don't stop, as you will experience. Why I love the Olympics so much. Because I know that especially in the last, I would say 20 to 25 years, there's been a lot of controversy regarding hosting the Olympics. It's true. It was very burdensome for cities, and everybody was like 5 times over budget. It's not, when Olympic cities go over budget, it's not like they go over budget by $1 million. It's like 5 times the original budget. It's not like, okay, well, we spent a little bit over here. No, it's like 5 times it's like billions of dollars over, right? And then, there's been a lot of criticism of that, how cities are spending these billions of dollars in Olympic infrastructure, but not on infrastructure for the residents of the city. And I certainly understand that. But I've always, from a very young age, I love the Olympics because I sort of understood, or the way that I saw it was that athletics can bring out the best in, I think, humanity. And I think when you perform on an international scale, that it's everybody, the best of the best from around the world. I think that really does something to, the human psyche that, to me, and I know it could sound a little cheesy when I see people performing in the Olympics and everybody, cheering on for their country or cheering on for wherever, but within honoring sport.
Not in a xenophobic way.
No.
Right.
In a very celebratory way. I think that is without sounding too cheesy, I think that is the best of humanity.
No, but I think with the Olympics, I think cheesy is the point, right? Because I think, actually, you know what? It's not even that cheesy is the point. It's just that we are also at a moment in time, these unprecedented events.
One moment in time.
Where I think that anytime we see things that are done in earnestness and with a certain purity of spirit, immediately we just be like, it's so cheesy. We almost roll our eyes at it,
right?
Because we become so jaded and cynical. Yeah. And so I think that's why I say, I think cheesy is the point with the Olympics. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way.
Right.
I mean it in that.
Well, because I think that the Olympics give you moments that, you have to be so focused as a human being and so disciplined. And I think in essence shows the potential and the greatness of humanity. I remember being a child and watching in 1988 the Olympics, which were in Seoul, South Korea. And I remember Greg Louganis, who was a platform diver for the United States, hitting his head on the springboard. And that was like a huge thing. Like, he hit his head on the springboard and broke his head. And that man got out of the pool. They stitched his head. He went back and did his dive, and he won the gold medal. I mean, you don't do that unless you are 100% committed and just your focus and discipline is so great that you can overcome that moment. Then I think of the 1996 Atlanta Olympics, where Carrie Strog, who was, for Team USA in gymnastics, she had sprained her ankle and she had to do the vault, like where she had to run, do a flip, and then nail the landing with a sprained ankle. And then somehow she did that and she was able to nail the landing. Yeah. You don't do that unless you have some super hyper focus. And again, those moments are just they're great. And I think again, without sounding cheesy, I think moments like that in the Olympics give you hope for humanity. One of my favorite movies of all time is Miracle, which is about the
hockey team.
The hockey team, the 1980 Winter Olympics in Lake Placid, where the Americans beat the Russians, and the Russians were like this powerhouse, hockey team. By the way, if you've never seen that movie Miracle with Kurt Russell, like, watch it. Like, you will have faith in humanity again.
It really is very just like, again, cheesy, right? In the best way possible, right? Of just that purity of spirit.
So I've always, from a very young age, I sort of got that that's what I would get from the Olympics. And it's two and a half weeks, and I'm like, man, it's two and a half weeks that people from around the world can live together and sort of be at peace and get along. People from all walks of life and come for a common goal and succeed at that goal. This could be how we live in this world.
It's possible.
It is possible. And I don't know, I've always seen that as the Olympics, and ever since I was a kid. So I think that's been one of the reasons why I've always sort of been slightly obsessed with the movement. And I've always loved it since I was a kid. Like, the Olympics are like a highlight of my even numbered years.
Your even numbered years.
Yeah. So, because I do collect Olympic memorabilia,
we see that you're already wearing your Paris.
I'm wearing my Paris.
Yes, with Mary J. Blige on it.
It does look like Mary J. Blige. It does look like Mary J. So I'm wearing my Paris t-shirt all ready for the Olympics today. So I'm looking forward to that. I bought a lot of Olympic merch for this Paris. But I want to give you guys, this is the learn section of the show. So one of the things that the Olympic organizers always struggle with is getting, obviously is like, merchandising, as you know, is getting everybody to watch the Olympic Games, including kids. So they struggled to, like, how do we get younger people to watch the Olympics? So they were thinking we should have mascots.
Okay.
So they started playing around with mascots in like the late 60s, and they had some unofficial mascots. But the first official Olympic mascot.
Okay. Ooh, yay, there's visual aids and there's props.
The first official Olympic mascot is this guy. This is Waldy. He's a dachshund. He's from Munich, 1972. So this little guy you see right here is 52 years old.
That is the most colorful German I've ever seen.
This is original. I love Waldy. Yeah, this is original.
Oh,
all my stuff is original.
Well, I don't know how. I mean, maybe some things are harder to find than others.
I've been collecting Olympic.
Okay, but in all fairness, this might be harder to find than others. Maybe they did a reproduction.
Yeah. I've actually had him for like 20 years.
Oh.
Yeah, I bought him a while ago. But this is the first official Olympic mascot. So I'm going to show you some of my favorite mascots.
We can keep him on the table here with us.
Well, actually, the mascot for this year for Paris is the Flige, which is, I actually love this little guy. So he's very symbolic because in France, the French Revolution, and every time there's some type of revolutionary protest in France, they wear these red caps. And this is a red cap. And this is a mascot of Paris 2024, the Flige.
I'm not going to lie. When I first saw it, I was like, why is it a drop of blood?
It's not a drop of blood.
It looks like a drop of blood.
So this guy right here.
Oh, I remember him.
This is Hodori. Hodori is the mascot of the 1988 Olympics.
That's Seoul, right?
Yeah, Seoul. And the reason why he's one of my favorites is because the 1988 Seoul Olympics were the first Olympics that I like really remember.
Yeah, same.
I was like, I mean, I was still really small, but I really remember them.
I remember him.
Yes.
Specifically.
So he was very popular. So this is Hodori. So then...
I love it. I'm starting to feel like I'm at the Disney store years ago.
My favorite Olympics of all time was Athens 2004. I loved everything from that Olympics, not only the moments in sport, but the opening ceremony, I think, is the greatest opening ceremony. And it was Athens. It's where the Olympics started. So the mascots are Athena and Phobos. And I like these guys too. And they're actually based on real Greek artifacts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I really liked them. And yeah. And, you know, they're Greek, which the Olympics are Greek.
They kind of look like Muppet bowling pins. Yeah.
And then, last but not least, my favorite all-time Olympic...
a space here.
My favorite all-time Olympic mascot is this guy right here. This is Misha. He's from the 1980 Moscow Olympics.
Oh.
I love this mascot. And this is actually probably the most famous Olympic mascot.
More so than...
The most famous. Misha was so popular in Russia and in the Soviet bloc that for, I think, like 10, 12 years after the Olympics, there was an animated series of Misha.
Aww.
He was so popular that in 2014, when the Olympics returned to Russia, for Sochi 2014, the Winter Games, in the closing ceremony, Misha came out.
Aww.
And he is
so
seen
cute.
as like a national symbol. And in the 1980 closing ceremonies, there was a whole number about Misha, and he comes out as like this giant balloon, and eventually he flies away. And the shots, like, you gotta look this up. I'm not making this up. The shots of people in the stadium, they were like crying
because Misha was leaving.
And there was so much, the merchandising of this, one of the reasons it was so successful was because of merchandising, because they did animated series, they did toys, they did bed sheets, they did posters, they did everything with Misha's head on it. But I mean, look at this guy. Like, he's adorable.
And it's a simple design. Like, at the end of the day, it's very simple, but yeah.
So my favorite Olympic mascot. So, you know, what I like about the Olympic mascots is that they usually mean something pertaining to the region.
Right.
There's been some Olympic mascots that have been a disaster.
Atlanta,
1996 Izzy. Izzy used to be called, what is it?
Well, yeah, technically that's his full name.
It looks like toothpaste.
On a good day.
Yeah. And that was...
Yeah,
you know, he's so hated that I actually kind of
give up for him. Yeah.
So the people, whether you wanted it or not, this was your history in Olympic mascots.
Yes. Put it over here. I'm starting to, I think I look like E.T. in that one scene where he's with the stuffed animals. Like, just, you know, they're all around me.
And I have them all, actually, but we couldn't take them out all.
Yeah, there's only so much space on this table, guys.
Yes. I just brought you some of my favorites. There's also, from Torino 2006, Nevin Glees.
You know, I was about to ask you about Nevin Glees.
But, you know, I couldn't bring everybody out.
Right. And that's the Winter Olympics.
That's the Winter Olympics. Nevin Glees were big. You remember Nevin Glees because of me.
I love them.
They were an ice cube.
I mean, who doesn't love an anthropomorphic ice cube?
So, as I said, people, whether you want it or not, this was a history in Olympic mascots.
Enjoy.
That was the learn section of today's episode.
Sure was.
So, yes, watch the Olympics on NBC starting today.
Yes, and it runs for like 2 weeks.
17 days. 17 days. Yeah. The next Olympics are going to be, in 20... Well, what year are we in? 2024?
We're in 24, so in 28.
The 2028 are going to be in LA. Oh, I'm going to those Olympics, by the way. Right.
Let's figure out how to make that a thing.
Right. And then in
get invited.
2034, they're in Brisbane. Now, Paris and LA and London have something in common. They're now, when they start in Paris today, it's the third time. So they were in Paris in 1904, 1924, and now to 2024. So I hope in the opening ceremonies there's some type of reference that it's been 100 years.
Like a return to France.
Right. And then London was 1908, 1948, and 2012.
I mean, 2012 was the best one.
And then LA was 1932, 1984, and 2028. So... there you got it.
Again, I can't get you more learned than this.
Pero primos, go out and tell everybody, hey, you know what I heard? Pero let me tell you today. So all this Olympic talk has made me thirsty.
Yes, well, you know, because we don't compete.
No.
So this is how we get our thirst.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's last soda time. Do you want to go first, or do you? Want
I've
me to,
talked too much. You go first.
Or do you want me to like emerge from behind the stuffed animals?
Yes.
All right. So my last soda this week is actually something that it's going to be so out of left field.
You look great with the mascots, by the way.
I mean, I make it work.
Yeah.
There's something about stuffed animals in front of me. Makes me look thinner.
Yeah.
So this week, just again, unprecedented times and this and that. So I was in a moment where I was like, you know what? I just want to watch something this week that just like check my brain at the door. Mm-hmm. Don't even think.
Did you watch Three's Company?
No. I watched the last 2 Sharknado movies.
Oh, they're bad.
They were so bad. It was wonderful.
Those are the ones with Tara Reid, right?
Yeah. I think that by the last one, I think Tara Reid just barely showed up. Like, I think she just showed up and she was just like lying because it was so like, they're so bad, but it was, as I'm watching it, all I could think of like, this is awful. And I kept going.
Right.
I'm like, it's awful. Keep going. Give me more. Give me more. I mean, part 5, there's 6 of them, by the way. Part 5 is the one where they go global. Mm-hmm. And do you know who plays the Queen of England?
Who?
Oh, I'm going to give you 3 guesses and you're not going to guess.
Who plays the Queen of England?
She doesn't say a word, but she's ostensibly playing the Queen of England. Like they make you understand that she is playing the Queen of England. 3 guesses I'm going to give you.
Is she American?
Technically.
I don't know. Jessica Simpson?
Nope.
Okay. Well, she's technically American?
Technically American.
That means that she's not.
Right.
She was born somewhere else.
Right.
Eva Longoria? No, Eva Longoria was born here.
No, she was born here.
No, Salma Hayek.
Nope. You're getting close, though, with Selma.
So Mexican American.
Not Mexican American, but you're getting...
Sofia Vergara.
No. You know what, though? You were circling the airport. Charo.
That is great.
That's what I'm saying.
That is great.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and then they go to Australia and Olivia Newton-John is playing, a cyborg doctor.
Olivia Newton-John is in that movie?
She's in part 5. Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
They got Olivia Newton-John for that movie?
Yes, they did. I mean, again, she has like 12 lines. It's not like she has an extensive thing.
But Olivia Newton-John was a name.
Right.
It is a name.
And then the Pope in that one was played by Fabio.
Okay, let me ask you something about those Sharknado
and New
movies.
York was in the last one.
New York?
Yes.
Tiffany Pollack?
In the last one or the 5th one? Yes, in one of those. Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you something about Sharknado. When the first one came out...
It was a fluke.
But so that was always the plan?
No. It was a fluke. The first one came out because Sci-Fi was making these, these super cheap, high concept, like they were doing a bunch of like, all right, it's a tornado that has sharks in it. Great. It's a volcano that has giant spiders. They were just kind of cranking shit out. But when that movie became so popular, they're like, okay, let's do a sequel.
Right.
And then the sequel was popular, and it's like, well, let's do another one. So eventually, they just kind of kept cranking them out. The problem with that is that, with each movie, like
you have to make it more and more outrageous.
But also now you have the other movies that came before it, so you have to kind of continue the story, right? To the point where the last one is literally about time travel.
Okay.
Right. They go to space in part 3.
Do they meet the people from Fast and Furious? Because I told you, I mean, obviously, when the first Fast and Furious came out, I was all over that because it was car culture. Yeah. I was totally into it. Yeah. And even up to part 5. Part 5 is the one they did in Rio. That one was amazing. That was like, that's probably my favorite.
Cool stunts. Yeah.
But then, started turning. And remember when you and I joked, I'm like, they're going to end up in space.
Well, it happened.
And it happened. At this point in time, let's just keep going.
Total.
Let's keep going.
So again,
Charo
was the queen mom. So again, these are just it's such a stupid movie. It's such a stupid series of movies. And I was like, you know what? This is exactly what I needed right now. And you just put it on in the background. You kind of tune in and tune out. And every time you tune in, you're kind of like, what the fuck is happening? But it's okay because it doesn't matter.
So it's still a tornado with like...
It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And so then it becomes like...
So what do these sharks want?
Well, okay, so here's the thing. This is what I don't fully understand, but sure. The first one was literally just like a tornado happened over the ocean and the sharks flew out into the land.
Okay.
Okay, fine, I'll buy it. We're
And the
good.
sharks didn't die when they fell in the land?
Well, they would, but they would fall on people, or they would fall with or they would come out with like their mouth open, so they were like chomping people. So there was a danger.
Okay.
I mean, just think about sharks falling from the sky.
Oh, okay.
Right. The second one was that a Sharknado was happening. That was on the West
I'll
Coast.
be like, that's not covered by my property insurance. So, fall in front of the house,
Oh,
not
at
on the house.
At this point, nothing's covered by our property insurance here in Florida. So then the second one is it's happening now on the East Coast, right? So it's happening in New York.
Of
Okay,
course.
sure. The third one, I don't remember where it happens. The third and the fourth one is where I get a little murky. By the fifth one is that it's now these things are happening globally, and they find out because somebody's doing like some cavern exploration that apparently this has happened before and it will happen again, and we must. So it's become a thing. Like now, just these sharks. I don't know how there's any sharks left in the ocean because there's just happening all over the globe, right? Then in part 5, at one point, they also go by like Turkey Point. So like now they're mutated. So now
Wait, they really go by Turkey Point?
not Turkey Point, but they get mutated with some type of nuclear waste or
Right.
whatever.
Of course.
So they wind up in Tokyo as like a Sharkzilla type thing.
Oh.
Right. Then eventually what winds up happening is that the entire planet is decimated and the only survivor is Ian Ziering.
The only survivor?
The only survivor. At the end of that movie, his son from the future comes and grabs him. His son in the future is, by the way, played by Dolph Lundgren. Comes and takes him in a car, and they have to go and stop all of the Sharknadoes have happened throughout history from happening. So now in the last one, they apparently couldn't get Dolph Lundgren again, so they recast his son at different age groups with different
So
actors.
Tara Reid is not in it anymore.
Oh no, she was in all of them.
Okay.
She was in all of them. By the last one, she's not only is Tara Reid in it, there's a point where Tara Reid has died, been brought back as a cyborg. Ian Ziering's walking around with the cyborg's head in a bag. There's another Tara Reid from another time who comes in who hasn't been cyborgized yet. And then they all go into the future where Tara Reid's cyborg has become like the ruler of the planet, and she made an entire army of Tara Reids.
What?
It's not going to make any more sense if I repeat it.
Were these people on drugs when they come up with this?
All of them. All of the drugs, yes.
And like when they read, I mean, look, obviously they're in on the joke. I mean,
Yeah,
Tara
yeah.
Reid knows that. Tara Reid just needs a paycheck at this point.
Well, and I was looking up on Wikipedia. Ian Ziering even said, he's like, look, when I took the role of the first one, it's like because I needed to meet my quota for SAG so I could get health insurance.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I mean, that's commendable. I mean, you
Right.
do what you got to do to feed your family. But then it became a hit. So then, okay, fuck it. Like, I'll do it.
I mean, who would have ever thought that, in his Wikipedia, entry, other than, 90210, that his big thing would have been Sharknado. So, last soda for Sharknado.
Last soda for Sharknado. Again, you just put it on the background. There's 6 of them. You can clean the whole house.
And some.
And some, yeah.
Well, my last soda goes to Billy Joel.
Oh, okay.
So Billy Joel is ending his residency at Madison Square Garden.
Again?
He's done 150 shows in Madison Square Garden because what happened was that about 10, 12 years ago, he signed a deal with them that he was going to play a show a month.
Yeah.
So he did. But now he's ending it at the 150th show. So he's played 150 shows in 45 years at Madison Square Garden. Wow. I mean, that's quite the feat.
Yeah.
And, I love Billy Joel. I absolutely love Billy Joel. I
agree.
I've seen him in concert twice. And he's one of these people that, like, I mean, I do like him, but even if you think you're not a fan, when you start listening to his catalog, you're like, oh, wait, I like every song in here. Yeah. What's your favorite Billy Joel song?
I love Downeaster Alexa.
Okay, wow, I wasn't expecting that.
I really do like Downeaster Alexa.
Okay. I mean, I was going to go, I think my favorite song of his is either She's Always a Woman or Scenes from an Italian Restaurant.
Both good choices.
But I feel that with him, you can't go wrong in any of them.
No. There's no such thing as a quote unquote bad Billy Joel.
Yeah.
Like they're catchy, they're well written, they're just memorable.
I mean, even Piano Man, that is so played out at this point, and it's so like, here it goes again. Even Piano Man, I still like.
Yeah. It hasn't lost its luster.
No. And you know what? I love River of Dreams.
Oh, that's a really good one too.
Yeah, I like that whole album. It's funny because to me, that's like new Billy Joel, even though it's from 1993.
Right.
Yeah.
That was his last album, right? I mean,
of original music. I don't know if that was his last album. But he hasn't had much original music since then.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love him. I love him, and he's such a great performer. And I mean, he's not like retiring, but he's just finishing, I guess, the residency, if you will. Talk about that's a residency. Again, he's one of these people that just, you want to use, you and I always say the word icon is used very loosely nowadays, but you want to talk about an icon, Billy Joel.
Damn right.
Billy Joel. So anyway, everybody, that was our episode today. I think we should end with like the Olympic theme song. You know what song we're going to be hearing a lot in the next few days?
What?
The Olympics? La Marseillaise.
God, why can't I think of it now?
You mean the French national anthem, the Marseillaise?
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Allons enfants de la patrie.
Oh no. I was thinking of the Olympic song. The Olympic song that they always play in the broadcast. Yes, but then there's like the one that they play when they go to commercial.
That one, but that one, if it keeps on, it goes that
part.
It's the same one.
Oh, okay. Yes,
that's called "Hail the Heroes." I believe that's by John Williams.
Okay, that
But that song is the NBC Olympic theme song.
Yes.
That now everybody just thinks is the Olympic theme song, but that's not played internationally.
Oh, so if I go to Canada, CBC is not going to play that.
Maybe CBC will, because Canada's, there are
they're cool.
Yeah. Celine Dion will be performing.
Oh, Celine.
Oui.
Oh, I hope she lights the torch.
No, she's not. She's not lighting the torch.
I say let her. I don't know what le va a costar for her to walk there to begin with. Just let her light the damn thing.
Oh, she's probably like, je suis dans Paris.
Yeah.
Je suis Canadienne.
Yeah. Knowing her,
je parle français.
She'll have some type of haute couture ensemble made of the rings.
Oui. Well, it's not the first time she sings the Olympic theme
true.
song. She sang in 1996, "The Power of the Dream."
That's right.
Along with Gloria Estefan, who sung "Reach," which we opened up our show with, and we should end it with "If I Could Reach." Oh yeah, who would have ever thought that Juanita? When I think about the achievements of Gloria Estefan, I'm like, you freaking sung the Olympic theme song.
And probably one of, if not the most iconic of them. Yeah.
Fun fact. One Moment in Time was not an official theme song.
Really?
Of the Olympics by Whitney Houston. No, it wasn't. No. It was used by the American Olympic team as
okay,
hype up song. I mean, I love that song, but it was not an official theme song. Whereas Reach was.
Well, okay. Fine.
Anyway, the last little tidbit for everybody to learn. So we hope you listen, laughed, and learn. And as always, remember to grab your pastelito, your croqueta, and your cafecito. And thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Yes. Go watch the Olympics this weekend.
Yes. Go Team America.
Okay. Bye. Team USA, chico.
Eso mismo. Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darien Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. Hey everybody, it's been a minute, but I've got somebody with me today that, we have every once in a while. And today he's brought really cool eyewear.
Hello.
I am very much digging Tristan's eyewear. Welcome back, sir. How are you today?
Good.
You're good. I like those glasses. So, okay, wait. They're like kind of cat eyes with like a reflective mirror.
Doflamingo. Yeah.
What's a Doflamingo?
From One Piece.
Is that a character?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you finished watching One Piece yet or no? Oh yeah.
No, not yet.
How many more episodes do you have left?
I'm about on episode 759. So
out of
1,115.
Jesus, there's that many friggin' episodes left?
Yeah, actually, 1,113 is coming out this Saturday. It's coming out in 2 days, so there's 1,112.
Oh, because they're still making new episodes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was one of those anime that had kind of ended already, and you were just watching it.
No.
Like Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z. I think although Dragon Ball, I think is going to have some new episodes later this year. I think they're bringing out new episodes as well.
Didn't Akira Toriyama already
pass? He did, but I think that it's just the animation studio that they did it through.
Toei Animation.
Yeah, I think Toei is just creating like a new story.
One Piece too. So.
Well, then Toei's very busy right now. if they've got the One Piece, they've got Dragon Ball. Have you seen Naruto?
Nope.
Oh, it's so good.
I've only seen 759 episodes of One Piece.
Okay.
21 episodes of Jujutsu Kaisen and 2 episodes of One Punch Man.
I never got into One Punch Man. I don't know. I just didn't like. He kind of looks weird. I don't get it. It's no. I don't like the aesthetic. So what is it you dig about One Piece though? Because I know One Piece is very popular right now. It's not just the anime. It's also got the live action on Netflix. But like, what is it that hooked you about One Piece? Because you're not really
My
a big
friends.
Your friends.
They
Okay.
watch One Piece.
So then you're like,
My friends
well,
at school.
so you want to be part of the conversation? You're like, fine, I'll watch One Piece.
I'm already ahead of them all.
So you just like to be, you don't like to be in the know. You like to be ahead of the know.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, because you're not a big anime person necessarily, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm watching 3 animes right now, but
Okay, well that's true. No, that's fair. You're watching through, but like, excuse me. Yeah, but I don't remember you being like, yeah, I love anime. I know you like certain shows, but I don't remember you being
I
like.
mean, I'm not an anime weeb. Like, there's one person in my class who's watched, like, I don't know, like, every single anime there is, I swear.
Wait, what's a weeb?
A person who, really, really likes anime.
Okay, like a huge fan.
Yeah.
Okay, ooh, weeb. That sounds so like I don't like that word.
I'm a fan of anime, but...
You're not like
a
obsessive.
huge fan. Like, I'm not, yeah, like you said, obsessed.
Oh, okay. All right. So, what do you think you'll watch any more after you finish with these, or do you think you're gonna take a break from anime?
I don't know.
You don't know. You do know. You just want to tell me because you want to have something to tell me later on when we bring you back on the show. So, how's your summer been? You just came back from Italy a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, okay, what was your favorite part of Italy? What was your favorite part of the trip?
The Coliseum.
The Colosseum was your favorite part of the trip. It wasn't when you got stuck between two
The way
buildings.
I said it. I love how I just said it like Coliseum.
Well, that's how you should say it. Colosseum. You got to say it with like a certain authority.
I said it like an NPC.
A non-playable character.
Yeah.
See, I know what that is. See, I'm not as unwith it as most people who are about to be 45. So really, your favorite part wasn't when the car got stuck between the two houses?
That was fun.
That was fun. Was it really fun, or was it like, oh my god, what's happening? What were you thinking when that happened?
I can't even remember.
You can't even remember?
Nope.
It was that just like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically. And how was the wedding?
Good.
You were part of it. I saw that you were part of it. You actually you gave Roger and Eric their vows, which, listen, without the vows there's no wedding.
Yeah.
Without the vows there's no wedding. So that's a very important part of that. Like, do you remember when they asked you to be part of the wedding?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was it, did you say yes immediately, or were you like, I'll think about it?
No, I said yes.
Yeah, because you wanted to be part of the wedding, like you just,
And the crowd goes wild.
Well, they did, because I saw the video. The crowd did go wild when you took the vows up, sir. I also heard that the vows were kind of missing for a big part of the day, and then eventually you can you tell us that story?
I don't know, like the whole story of it being missing. Ask my dad. I don't know.
Yeah, but you know that there was like, where are the vows? Where are the vows? Where are the vows? And nobody could find them.
Yeah.
Did you know what the vows said before you gave it to them, or no?
I didn't read them.
You didn't read? Why didn't you read the vows?
I don't know.
You're not nosy. That's why.
I don't read French.
You don't. Well, okay. And Roger doesn't speak French, so I know those were in English.
No, he speaks French.
Roger does not speak French. Not to the extent where he's gonna write his vowels in French.
He wrote his vowels in French. I saw it a little bit. He did.
Did he say them in French? His vows.
He wrote them in French.
I know Eric would be French, yes, but Roger.
He wrote them in French and said that out loud in Spanish.
Okay, no, that makes sense. Roger would have written them in Spanish and said them in Spanish, but I don't think Eric is going to bust out with Spanish.
French or Spanish?
Yeah, that makes more sense.
I forgot.
It was probably Spanish, because I don't think Roger writes French.
I can speak Spanish.
Yes, you can. I
You
know.
want me to read a line in Spanish?
What line?
El diablo no quiere poner pantalones en mi casa y yo no sé por qué.
I've said that so many times. The amount of times that I've wondered why the devil doesn't want to put on pants when he's in my house. Oof, you could write a book. I'm telling you.
I didn't steal that from YouTube.
Oh, okay? I thought you made it up. You could have just said that you made it up, and I would have totally believed you. I didn't know it was from YouTube. We're from YouTube. Like from where? From, is it like from a specific
Yeah, but I forgot
show?
the channel.
Oh, okay. Channel, not show. Channel. So it's almost going back to school time, though.
No.
No, yeah, it kind of is.
No.
You're like, no, I don't wanna. But you're going to 5th grade now. So you're almost done with elementary school. That's crazy
That's
to me.
even worse.
That's yeah, I guess it would be, yeah. Yeah, but that's crazy to me that you're like almost done with elementary school. You're going to be going to middle
In
school.
2018, when he started the podcast, I was in pre-K. Yeah, bitch.
Wow. Okay, you just made me feel very old. Thank you for that. You just made me feel ancient, sir. You and your mirrored glasses over
Yeah.
here with your no pants devil talk making me
Yeah.
feel old.
And your stone tablets.
And my stone tablet. All right. How old do you think I am, sir? Like, stone tablet? You think the Flintstones over here? Come on, guy. I mean, I'm from, I'm from when people knew how to write cursive, but not stone tablets. That would be hell, doing cursive on a stone tablet. Can you imagine? Be like, all the way around. Got a chisel. Have to stop like mid-loop of an L. Take a break. And then go back.
Yeah, weren't you part in didn't you take part in making the pyramids?
I actually, little known fact, I did. I did take part in that. That's why I have a bad lower back. Because I had to lift all of those really heavy bricks. Yeah. Yeah. I use a lot of moisturizer. I'm actually 1,004 years old. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? The pyramids were already built 1,004 years ago.
Yeah, but sometimes you have to do maintenance.
You mean 4,004 years ago?
No, I mean 1,000 because like it was already built. But sometimes like one of the steps breaks, and somebody's got to repair it. You can't just call a repairman.
That was you.
Yeah. So I helped with that part of the pyramids. Yes. Yes.
You were the oldest man alive.
I was.
You've been alive since 6,703 BC.
Yeah. Things were a lot rougher then. We didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
No, we didn't. If
So
I wanted,
how does it feel being over 8,000 years old?
it's an experience. It is. Sometimes I think it was a simpler time, but then I remember that I like air conditioning. So, it all balances out.
Sure.
Yeah, it does. Plus, I got tired of just eating, bad food. I like pizza. So I'm glad I'm here now and not back then.
Yeah.
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 All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and thank you again for swinging by. No, you don't want me to thank you? You don't want me to thank you? No? Okay, I won't thank you. I'll never thank you again, sir. How dare you?
No, that's not what I was going to say. I said I don't want to leave.
You don't want to leave? Well, eventually we're going to have to. I mean, we can't just keep doing this forever, mostly because the battery will die.
Oh.
Yeah,
Can
mostly.
you just do this for like maybe 5 hours or something?
Dude, sometimes me and your dad can't get through like 45 minutes before the battery dies. It's ridiculous.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, you said 5 hours. No, sometimes 45 minutes and the battery dies. So 5 hours is not 5 hours can't go like with single charge on these batteries. Thank you again for swinging by. Next time we talk, you're going to be officially a 5th grader.
The One Piece is real.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we leave you adieu.